And then, along with appointing his friend to be the commissioner of the IRS, he handed him a list called his enemies list. And everybody on there was somebody who had opposed him in the election. And what do you suppose this commissioner did with the IRS and that enemies list? Yeah, they initiated an audit, a careful scrutiny, an investigation of everybody on that list. So the message was coming down clear and loud. If you don't want to be audited and get into a lot of trouble with the IRS, and because everybody knows they can't have the right answer if the IRS says, well, you've got the wrong answer. I mean, you don't know if you got the right answer. Then you could be in a lot of trouble if President.
Thank you.
So there were people who said, well, that will never happen again. Watergate was the scandal that exposed this enemies list, and Richard Nixon resigned, and he was out of office. That'll never happen again. But then there were some questions about that later under the Clinton administration. Did anybody ever hear of a woman named Paula Jones? I guess you have. Have you heard of Paula Jones?
I've heard about anything about it.
Okay, she's a woman who says, well, when President Clinton previously was the governor of Arkansas, he asked a state trooper to come down, because he said Paula Jones was working for the state of Arkansas and doing some office work and so on. And the state trooper invited her to come up to Governor Clinton's hotel room to meet with him. And while he was in there, she said, that he sexually harassed her, that he wanted her to have sex with him. And he denied this, okay, but she said she could tell it, and in court she could even give identifying marks and so on that would identify them. At any rate, he denied this. The case went on, and she had a couple lawyers that urged her to settle when the president said, I'll issue you a statement of regret that you feel that that's what this happened, but I'm not going to admit that happened. I'm just going to statement of regret that you feel badly about this moment. Because then she refused, she went down, and she lost her job. At any rate, so Andy was going to pay some money to her. It wasn't ever really disclosed how much money it was going to pay. At any rate, her lawyer said, take the deal. Take the statement of regret and the payment. And she's thinking, well, here's the guy who's the President of the United States who's now in charge of prosecuting all harassment cases in the country. No, I'm not going to drop the case. And she had fired her lawyers instead. And opponents were probably saying, oh, she's just after this for the publicity. At any rate, early last week, Paula Jones parted ways with her lead lawyers who wanted her to settle her lawsuit against Clinton for money and a mere statement of regret from the president. A few days later, the Joneses, husband and wife, got an IRS letter telling them they had been picked out for an audit, their first ever. And their spokesman said that Stephen Jones earned about $37,000 a year, and Paula Jones, a housewife and mother of two, has no earnings. They don't own a home, so you have to ask why the IRS would suddenly bother with them. Even if they do owe back taxes, the amount could hardly be worth the agency's time. Even then, the audit might not raise eyebrows if it wasn't for the IRS's track record during the Clinton years. Led by Commissioner Margaret Miller Richardson, a former Democratic Party activist, the IRS has sent its auditors after well-known conservative groups. It has even honed in on individuals who have tangled with the Clintons. One Chicago couple who yelled, "You suck," at the president during a campaign appearance got an IRS letter accusing them of owing $200 in back taxes. Well, maybe it's just a coincidence.
It's in a bad though, so there's a body count behind it.
Republican administration under Nixon, Democratic administration, even the latest administration, the IRS head was accused of using her position to deny tax exempt status to these patriot groups who were organized to protest President Obama's laws and so on. And they were systematically denying them. And then when they said, well, we're going to open up an investigation, all those emails were lost too. So a lot of concern about those sorts of things. So here's also a little report about the worries that people had about the insidious nature of the accusation.
Why did you want to do this to keep your identity concealed? I definitely am afraid of retaliation and vindictiveness on management's part. You would expect that to happen? Because it's possibly going to happen. I would expect it. I would have no doubt that would happen.
We heard the same thing from all of the agents and former agents we talked to. This man was an IRS collections manager for more than 10 years. He has since quit the agency and now helps taxpayers who are being audited by the IRS.
Why do you want your identity concealed? I mean, you don't work for the IRS anymore. Because the IRS can make it tough on my clients if they know who I am. They do that? Sure. Of course they would. They make it tough on them as it is. I mean, I think maybe I ought to be on solo. Should I be on solo? Possibly.
The IRS
Now?
performed in a manner warranting the highest degree of public confidence in its integrity, efficiency, and fairness. Yet the people we talked to say IRS agents routinely lie to the taxpayer. One example, they frequently misrepresent the options the taxpayer has in settling a debt with the IRS.
So you're saying that they come into somebody and say, look, you don't pay the full amount now, we're gonna shut down your business, we're gonna seize your car, seize your house, put levies and liens on all your accounts, things like that. And that may not be necessary. May not be necessary, but they're gonna come in with the biggest hammer they have, whether it's necessary or not, to force compliance. This line is the line condoned within the IRS. Absolutely. This is a corporate policy. This is something that years ago they mentioned at managers training. Basically, the policy went that it was okay to lie or mislead as long as it accomplished the goals of the agency.
The agents couldn't talk to us about specific instances or cases without violating federal law, but we were able to find plenty of examples of the IRS abusing its authority. One of the most clear-cut cases involves Carol Ward. She says the IRS went after her not because she owed the government money, but because she got into an argument with an IRS agent. It all began when her son Kristen went to the IRS for help in preparing a tax return for the family business. When the process dragged on and on for 3 months, Carol Ward decided to sit in on one of the meetings. She thought the IRS agent was overzealous and incompetent. She made the mistake of telling her so.
And I said, based on what I can see of your accounting skills, you'd be better off fishing up chicken fried steak on an interstate somewhere in West Texas. Before you make a fool of yourself with the next taxpayer, let me explain how this is done.
You insulted.
I insulted her. I think she deserves it, but I insulted her. She was trying to shake down my son. She was drunk on power.
3 weeks after that meeting, armed federal agents burst into the family's 3 clothing stores, seized all of the merchandise, and padlocked the doors. At first, they didn't even offer an explanation. Then they claimed she owed the IRS $325,000 in back taxes, interest, and penalties, which came as a big surprise to Carol Ward and to her lawyers, Bill Waller and Dennis Mark.
So the first time she found out the IRS was claiming she owed them anyway, let alone $325,000, was when they conducted the raid.
Correct.
That's
They,
right.
not only had they told her she owed $325,000, before that time, they had not told her that they were even looking at her or that they thought she owed anything. So the doors were shut down.
Well, as it turned out, Carol Ward didn't owe the IRS anything close to $325,000, which it was forced to admit some months later.
So after they seized all this stuff, you said, I want an audit. You got an audit.
You got an audit.
Then they,
$3,400,
that's what you owed.
7 years, with penalties and interest. So it's self-evident that our IRS agent did this for reasons other than taxes.
How do you know that?
Because I was not guilty of any of the things she alleged for, and she knew it too.
What Carol said was rude, and it was offensive, and it probably wasn't a very smart thing to do. But whether she deserved all of this because she said it, I don't think so.
Carol Ward eventually sued the IRS in federal court for unlawfully disclosing confidential tax information to the press. She won. In his ruling, the federal court judge chastised the agency, saying that Public servants cannot dispense equity to those who please them and withhold from those who do not. Then he awarded Cheryl Ward the $325,000 that the IRS initially claimed she owed them. None of this comes as a surprise to Senator William Roth, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, holding this week's hearing.
We talked to any number of agents, past and present, and we found that there are too many agents who are not responsive to the American people, that too often they're abusive in their approach. Every American, every tax-paying American is entitled to fair treatment, and there's no excuse for doing otherwise.
Roth says the potential for unfairness and abuse is built right into the system. He says IRS employees are graded and promoted, and in some cases receive cash bonuses based on the number of cases they open and close.
There is absolutely no excuse for that, because what it means is that the agent is not impartial, he's not trying to be fair to the taxpayer, instead he's trying to build a record.
It's like a policeman with a quote, a ticket quote. They're not supposed to have a ticket quote. What does that do to the mentality of the IRS? It puts them in an aggressive mode when they're dealing with the taxpayer. Kind of like a cornered rat where they're fighting, scraping for every concession they can get from the taxpayer, every extra dollar they can collect.
The agents say the end result of that policy is that the IRS ends up picking on people who can't fight back.
They don't go after corporate America or the wealthy people, but those are people that can bring in an accountant or a tax attorney and fight the system. Who do they go after? Mom and pop, middle class America, the wage earners.
I see it happening a lot, and it's being commented on all around my office. I'm not the only one that's seeing it, everybody's seeing it.
Is this policy coming down from the top?
Yes.
This agent says IRS employees have a saying: big cases, big problems. Little cases, little problems.
A big case, a big, involved, complicated, complex case against a big corporation. You know, a wealthy person. That's an involved case. Well, you worked that one case, it takes you 3 years. Well, that's fine. You took out a big person, but in the meanwhile, you could have took out 3 mom and pops. 3 mom and pops. What do you mean by that? You make it sound like a hit. Well, you could, in a way. If they go out of business, they go out of business. And your job is to collect the tax. And you don't care if they go out of business. For the most part, you want the tax, period. If they go out of business because they have to pay you instead of their creditors or employees, that's the way it is. There's no compassion here. The system is built on a foundation of compassion.
One example of what they seem to be doing is they will never end the audit. They'll have it go on and on and on. So people they're unable to work because they've got this audit. And, I mean, no one can take this kind of pressure, and the IRS knows that. And a lot of people do just break down and sign, even though they know they're never going to be able to pay, they're going to lose everything. And there doesn't seem to be any recourse for people who fight. It seems like then they have to open up another tax year and start auditing another tax year.
You make it sound vindictive.
It seems like it is vindictive.
Take the case of Johnny Johnson, who was a vice president of a large insurance company in Galveston, Texas, when the IRS audited him back in 1981.
This agent came in my office one morning, and I said to him, if you think I've done something wrong, why don't you tell me what it is, and let me see if I can explain it. If I can't explain it, if I owe something, I'll pay it, and we'll get on with our business. He said, Mr. Johnson, you have to realize that on the good advertising the Internal Revenue Service gets is when they bring the government down. And your name is a household word to hundreds of people. I said, do you mean to tell me you can take me to a court of law and convict me of some wrongdoing on the basis of life damage? He said, no, I don't believe I can do that because I get your name in the paper, that's all I have to.
Good publicity for the IRS.
You bet. Yeah.
The IRS claimed Johnson owed them $3,500. Instead of demanding immediate payment of the back taxes, they said they wanted to criminally prosecute him for what he and his lawyers felt were some naive bookkeeping mistakes by his wife. Rather than fight the judgment in court and risk losing his job and to spare his sick wife the aggravation, Johnson agreed to plead guilty, providing his identity was kept secret. But 3 days after the deal, the IRS issued this press release: insurance executive pleads guilty in tax case. The release revealed his name, address, and employer. His company promptly
it's not the first time the government's ever lied to a citizen. They lied to him and then they ruined his career. That is the kind of arrogance and power that concerns the American people when it comes to the IRS.
In 1991, 10 years after Johnny Johnson was audited, he was awarded almost $11 million in damages, but an appeals court reversed the decision. In a second trial in 1996, Johnson was awarded over $9 million. Again, the IRS appealed, and an appeals court recently ordered a new trial, citing faults in the judge's jury instruction. Johnson is now 76 years old.
If there's anything that they can, if they're going to pay me anything, I'm hoping that I will not.
And this has been going on now 15 years.
Yes, the litigation has been going 15.
A lot of lawyers won't get involved in these cases because they know how hard they fight, they know how long the fight takes, and they know that there's a lot of risk. So whether you'll ever get paid, even in good case.
Even if you win, you may not get the money.
That's right.
You haven't seen any of this $325,000. You never will.
And Carol Ward says that none of the agents involved in her case have ever been disciplined.
There's no accountability.
Okay, so they brought the cases against the IRS. Personal information, the courts came down and prosecuted and said, okay, the IRS has to pay them all this money. And they're not expecting to get it. But suppose that they actually did pay. Suppose the IRS finally did come through and say, okay, we'll give you this $320,000 for all the errors and all the trouble and all the grief that it's caused you. Whose pocket would it come out of? Ours. Yeah, other taxpayers. It's not coming out of the pockets of the agents. None of the agents were held accountable at all for any of this error. So that means there's likely to be more and more at issue. Well, there are lots of concerns that people have about abusive action. This kind of thing, of course, leaves everybody feeling vulnerable to the IRS if they wanted to come after them for any reason. There are some people who look at other kinds of taxes and they say, well, here's what's called the death tax by those who don't like it, the estate tax or inheritance tax by those who do like it. And it's saying, well, okay, you've earned $1 million, but I'm sorry, you passed it. Okay, so you could pass it along to your children or your family or anybody you designate as your heir. Okay, but in Japan, after a certain level of income, the Japanese government will take 70% of it, and the other 30% you get to pass along to your heirs. In the United States, the tax has been as much as 55%. And some countries, the tax is zero. They say, well, you already paid taxes on it when you earned it. You paid taxes on the interest that you earned while you saved it, and it's just none of our business what you do with it after that. Yeah.
Is this similar to like paying in Europe, where in Europe they incorporate the tax within all of their products? So when you pay for it, it says like £2, it's actually £2. Where here it's it may say $1, and you get out $1, but you still have to pay an additional tax on it plus tax.
Yeah, that's it's a value-added tax. It's built into the price of the thing. We have, in essence, a general excise tax, which is taxed at every stage of the process. So you look like you're paying only 4%, 4.5% at the grocery store where you're at the checkout counter. You're paying 4.5%. But in actuality, you'd be paying more like 13 to 15% if you added in all the taxes that are paid at every stage of the distribution, because it's the equivalent of what we got, 13 to 15% sales tax. Pretty high, actually, Hawaii's one of the highest of the taxes that used to appear in Money Magazine's the number one tax hell of the country because of those
Import fees and all that stuff.
yeah, and actually the biggest cost to Hawaii is the Jones Act, just a regulation that says that everything that goes from one American port, like Los Angeles, to another American port, like Hawaii, has to be on an American-made ship with an American crew and American flag, American ownership, which means that it's probably at least, just the ship is 5 times more expensive than if you were allowed to buy a ship and use a ship from, let's say, South Korea. So that's one of the reasons why estimates are that the higher cost of living in Hawaii, it raises the cost of living for a family of four by about $3,000 a year, just because everything has to be just because of that one regulation. There are some who have complained about the high taxes in other countries as well. There's a guy named Gerard Depardieu who's complaining about taxes in France. We're gonna raise the tax. Here's Gerard Depardieu. You may have seen him in movies. Anybody ever remember seeing him? I probably don't pronounce it right. Have we talked about this guy before? Okay. Oh, that's right. And it wasn't. And in Russia, they have a 13% flat tax, and so he preferred to go there. They were going to raise the tax in France from 45% to 75%, and that's what motivated him to switch his nationality. Okay, well, so that's all for today. We'll continue on with